we are going to be talking about public spaces. And the key word here is pub. So, as far as etiquette goes, there are traditions, there's family, there's things like that. But when we think about public, we want to think about, things that people consider broadly, things that people have agreed to in the past, even if they're not agreed to now by a lot of people. We're going to be covering it because these are things that I think have expectations publicly, socially. And, sometimes things change and you may disagree. But if we look at it from respect to how people have felt through the times and how presentation can make you seem more classy and powerful and respectful, well, that's a little bit different than just tiptoeing around other people. Etiquette is about respect. It's respect for people's values in the common world, the respect for respect of others. So if we were to start off, when you look up, this is basically one of the first things you remember learning is don't cut in line. You wait your turn. You understand that there is a hierarchy of first come, first serve for most things, unless there's like a collar head or whatever. But cutting in line, I don't know why I would ever have to talk about this. Everybody should have learned this, but it surprisingly happens all the time. I was at a restaurant not too long ago and somebody cut in line and then he was an asshole about it. Very, very ugly trait to do that on top of the arrogance that would follow. But this is absolutely worth mentioning. Next, we have holding the door. Now, as a man, I believe there's a strength and power in asserting your position in the world as a man. And it is common that men hold the door. You hold it for women and for men. It is very, very important. So so let's talk about my perspective on the door. What about the distance from the door? There's a distance that somebody is too far. And you can't just keep holding the door and holding it and then it just doesn't work. There's a certain distance and time, how fast they're moving, how close they are their hands full, all that. If they're very far away, for example, you can hold it a little longer if, say, they have a whole armful of luggage and doing all this and that. Then that would make sense because you're actually helping them with the door. Then there's the courteous. They're coming up right behind you and you can just do the quick little thing. And then there's the perfect sweet spot when you would have the full on hold the door if they're coming towards you and you open it for them. Holding the door has some variables the more I think about it, but it's important because this is something that we surprisingly do quite often. Doors are always opening and closing and everywhere we go. So on a given day of going out, you'll probably have an opportunity to hold the door. And I think it's really important to do it, but do it deliberately. You never expect anything, no words of grace or anything. People are rude, but it's not about you. So you do that and you hold your stance and you be strong with it. And if somebody says thank you, say you're welcome. Don't just be like, oh, it's nothing. Oh, you do the same thing. Don't pass off. Just say you're welcome or welcome. Important. Keeping noise levels down is one of my, when I was in New York, people would come on the train with speaker phones, blasting music and having their phone calls. It drove me and almost everybody crazy. I don't know where people got the gall to think that it would be acceptable, even in the slightest, to share their conversation aloud or share their music in public spaces where other people do not want to hear, didn't vote for it, doing their own thing. Even at the beach, I still find it a nuisance when people bring their speaker and you can hear it at a site next to it. It should be private spaces, public space, but private space zone, I guess you could say. Nobody else should have to listen to your sound, just like you shouldn't have to listen to anybody else's. So there is a volume acceptancy of your music, phone calls, talking that I would say if you were to make a rule, which is as loud as you can be before it starts interfering with somebody else's audio space. So if they can hear you, it's probably starting to get a little loud. If there's like a chatter, then you're just in a public space. But nobody should have to speak over your sound, which happens so much if you think about it. Terrible trait. So do not do that. You go into a restaurant, even just like fast food or something, and people just leave a mess everywhere. It's disgusting. I think people who litter throw stuff out their car windows or just leave things behind for the staff to pick up. These people are low, they're scum. These are people without manners. They have zero etiquette because this is an absolute etiquette thing. Pick up after yourself. When you're a kid, you're supposed to pick up your toys after you're done. This is one of the things that happens if, I guess, a kid doesn't learn that lesson. It's really important, one, for yourself and all the things that you have, and to learn that like you're responsible for the space that you're in, and you need to respect the other people's property and other people's spaces. So picking up after yourself, in my opinion, is a very important one. Every one of these is important. Don't sit next to someone if there are other seats. So keep a buffer. So this is like that meme when there's a man at a urinal and then there's like 7 urinals and then they say psychopaths and then it shows them like go right next to that guy. Most men know this, but I'm going to say it here anyways. Always give space. There's a formula of as much space as possible is what you do. You just don't be creepy. This is weird. And even if it's women, this is like a thing where you're like, oh, you need to get closer, or you want to talk to them, so on, whatever. You still are better off having a space and then approaching or going by or something like that. Proximity is different than being next to, right? So it's important to consider that. People love their space, and if there aren't tight quarters like a subway when I'm getting crushed literally and could barely even put my arm to my side because there's not enough space for both arms down, then that's the way that situation goes. Of course, it doesn't matter. It's chaos and it sucks. But even in that place, like people are respectful and they try to like, tuck in something, they do their phone, they check stuff. It's something worth considering to some people who maybe just never really thought that other people really, really don't like it. Always reassess after striking up a conversation if they seem interested. So this is something that I thought about adding. I wasn't sure if I wanted to, but when you're talking to somebody in public, it could be the bank teller, it could be the waiter, it could be whoever, where it's like not a quick passing thing, but you have it. And you're having a conversation and maybe they're playful, maybe they're into it, and you're not really sure or certain that they're actually having a conversation or if they're being polite. So respecting if they're going to be polite or if they're being polite versus if they are actually engaging is a moment where that first blast of the conversation kind of formulates, and then you go in and you check, and you can do this with like questions, say things, make a stupid joke is usually what I end up doing. And if these things fall flat, then end the conversation, look away, look at your watch, whatever. Most of the time I have found most people don't really want to have a conversation all the time, and neither do I. But if you check it and you'll be like, yeah, because what's it like here with everybody, blah, blah, blah. If I'm talking to a bank teller and they can go, oh, and then that's it. That they don't really want to talk, but they could keep going. This is their opportunity to hit the ball back into your court. Put on the pleasantries. So this is kind of like that mask, and I hate it. I don't like being inauthentic anyway. However, sometimes we have to play a role to fit in society so that it's not a miserable place all the time. It's already tough as it is. And, we want to put on a mask and a performance that the world is good. Because when you're having a good day, you want that. You want to think that everybody else is sharing that with you and everybody's in on that parade. And you don't need to be like, if somebody asks you how your day is going, be like, miserable, terrible. And you don't also have to be like, best day of my whole entire life. Like, just when this guy worked with that landscape, he used to say, I can't complain. And that's pretty good. That's a pleasant reply. Finding that out, what you like to say and do that's authentic to your taste of the many options available is a nice skill to have, because then you have a go-to and it doesn't take that much energy. So I will say, can't complain, or it's great. But one YouTuber says, best day of my life, no matter what. And he's okay with doing that. And it's funny. And I like that kind of like affirmation, like best day ever. Yep. So, and it does feel good, to be honest. Like if you are saying best day of my life every single day, man, it gets you. That's good. Don't touch everything. Think about the opposite of an adult, which would be like a kid. So they will lick and touch things, put things in their mouth, who knows what kind of craziness, but they're just slobbering everywhere, kind of like Slimer in a sense, just like getting their essence everywhere, and it's disgusting. We're not animals. We're polite, and a lot of times if you can go without leaning on a wall, putting on your elbow on a banister, all that stuff, think about preventing yourself from touching germs. The better off you are holding your own space and being in control, the more confident you're going to appear for the most part, if you're not standing awkwardly, of course. And, it's just going to show a little bit of respect for the area. I mean, you never know what somebody might really not like you touching. I'm sure you've come across something where somebody's like, don't touch that, or something very valuable you didn't know, some ugly, stupid looking vase. Who knows? People are weird, but it's an important thing to consider. Paying genuine compliments. So in my life, in pickup and everything, we've always been told make specific compliments, like nice earrings, nice hair, so on. But if you talk about it from a conviction standpoint, I was just talking about this with one of the members here, that if you go in with conviction that you feel something, that something is exciting you or something, then that it is more authentic, it's more genuine, and it will be specific. And it's not like, oh, hey, nice earrings. Think about it coming from that source of true conviction that you find them attractive, right? So you'd be like, wow, those earrings are really great. I think they look great on you. All of whatever you're doing is sweet. Love it. Where did you get those? If you wanted to continue about the actual earrings, but whatever. So that kind of thing is really important instead of just kind of going through these like punch list things or having bland compliments. Listening actively, we've heard everybody quote it. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen in that ratio. But it is true. If you listen, you will actually have a better time, and so will they. They won't know how it's so amazing. People think they have the greatest conversation if they're talking. It's fascinating. So the more that they feel like they can talk more, the better. Avoiding gossip and negative talk about others. Now, I'm going to link the video about this that I made on gossip and how it's one of the worst things. It's disgusting. So I will have a link for that. And if you want to hear more about that, that's there. But basically, I say complaining isn't conversation, and gossip is a form of complaint. Offering seats next to those in need, such as elderly and pregnant women. I don't know how many people I used to see in New York that would, they would just, there's no seats. A pregnant woman would come on, nobody would offer her, and she's full. She's months pregnant. And I get up, and then she's gracious and good thing, and other people like recognize it, even the people that didn't get up. But they're so selfish. Same with elderly people. Like, I don't know about you, but if I go to like a fair or an event or something, like my knees start to hurt really fast, and I'm 43 now. So, I mean, I can't imagine what it's going to be like when I'm older, and it's going to be really tricky. So definitely want to be considerate and just treat others the way that you can imagine that they'd want to be treated if that was you, or at least offer it. Some people won't want it, but hey. So another thing with that is like, I've seen this too, where, there's like 2 seats and then a third seat, and first person, someone sitting there, the person and I'm talking about would sit that here in the middle, and then they have their like backpack on the other one. And then a pregnant woman comes in, and it's like, dude, move the freaking bag. Like, what are you doing? Why would anybody in the world think this is acceptable? Now, it's because they're stupid and they never learned this gracious etiquette that I'm teaching everybody here, or that you would have learned growing up. But you got to consider other people. Like, etiquette is so much about consideration and respect for others. And then again, man, I guess I keep referring back to the subway because all of the worst offenders are there. Using headphones where you can hear every single thing. It's hilarious sometimes when some tough guy comes on, he's listening to Taylor Swift, but I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anybody else's audio. It's in a way disgusting to me, and I am the majority. The amount of conversations I've had or eye rolls I see that these people are oblivious, and they actually think that they're more cool because they're stand out. And I'll go in a little bit. They think it's like a power move. It's a weird thing that they think they're alpha and cooler and awesome, and like, you won't tell me what to do, whatever. It's like, you're not gaining anything. You're losing respect at first, and then you're being disliked. You're not going to get anything from anybody. You're setting a crappy way to treat you because you're already treating people crappily by not respecting them. So yeah, surprisingly amount of people just are so noisy. And then yeah, I mean, what else can I say? When you're sneezing, sneeze into your elbow or into a handkerchief. I like to keep a handkerchief, but sometimes it comes out of nowhere and then you got to go to your elbow. I try to go out a window or something like that. I'm a big sneezer. I hate sneezing. It feels terrible, so I'm really careful with that. So a lot of young guys put on too much cologne, and it feels gross. It feels like heavy in the throat and the chest, and it's hard to be around it. Not necessarily because I wouldn't like it, but it's because it hurts like my lungs and my neck, and like it's something about it's just suffocating. So 2 sprays, 3 sprays if it's like a crappy like Macy's brand thing, right? Like you don't really need too much, and if you put it in the right areas on the skin and not on the clothes, don't put it on your clothes or on your beard. You should be good. You only need a couple sprays, at least for the first half of the day. And think about it. If you really just like it strong, then reapply, but the same amount of sprays. If you're just on a bench all day in the park or something, it's rude. Like you can have the bench for a long time, even if with your group, but you do want to move. It's proper etiquette to relocate after a certain amount of time. A lot of people think like, oh, I got the sweet spot. We got the bench and the chair. If you're going to be around for a long time, you want to relocate because that's how you got it. Somebody else moved. And if anybody sees you there for a long time, they're going to look at you with disdain and it's just not a good look as far as etiquette and respect goes. So letting somebody go like, yo, after you type of thing, it's people are good, but I think what people do wrong is they do it without intention. So I'm saying it now. When you let somebody go, let them go and be a little bit bossy about it and be like, after you. And you can smile. You can be like, hope your day is good. Having a good day or whatever. But just be stern. Make sure that they can't match. Because there's a lot of, oh, after you, right? And then there's that weird dance. But if you're like, after you, man, all you. And you maybe say it a couple times, a couple ways to make sure that it's an efficient, like, no, they're first. You're going to let them is important, keeps it nice and smooth. But yeah, if I were to think back, I would say if you say it twice, you're pretty good. After you first. And then I'm sure there's people with like really clever lines or something, you could say. Again, New York is a great place because there's so many people. But one of the biggest pet peeves of almost every New Yorker is the sidewalks. When anybody just stops in the middle of the sidewalk, it will drive every single New Yorker insane. And that's how you know when somebody's not from New York. So yeah, it's also a tell that you're a tourist, and it's also a nice pick for any danger, crime, pickpocketers. You want to move out of the way and stop to look at your phone, take out your wallet, do something. Stopping in the middle of the stairs, stopping in the middle of the street. This is chaos. It's just a bad thing to do. Nobody likes that. So don't do that. And going back to the picking up after yourself, also, like, don't just dump all of your things together. Just because it's not yours doesn't mean that you don't want to show that you like the establishment and you like the effort that somebody put, real bowls with your food at Panera, and you want to separate that bowl, the spoon, and then the tray and throw out the trash. But I don't know. People are stupid and they don't do it. But I'm mentioning it here because these are reminders for you. I don't think that you would ever really do that, but there are people to do. And it's kind of like, what kind of class are you holding? What kind of congruence in your subconscious do you want to hold? And I would say for me, I like to know subconsciously that I'm the freaking man. So this is part of that. Being mindful of somebody's space, not standing too close, is something like it being in line. There's a lot of people who don't understand personal space. And this one, I don't really experience too much. Most people are pretty good because they like their own space. But you just want to keep a good arm's length from almost everybody. It's just a good rule of thumb. And then they might have that on you, so it would be doubled and be very comfortable. But it's really important. And then, of course, turn off your audio things. It's all about audio, right? Nobody wants a nuisance or an annoyance from somebody else that isn't when they say it, right? Like, you're allowed to speak up and call something out and talk loudly and stuff. It's not the volume that's the problem or a person. It's that all of a sudden in the middle of any moment in front of a prayer or an event, somebody's phone goes off and they're like, oh, whoops, they're just total idiot. So you don't want to be that kind of a dunce. That is this section on public spaces. I hope that it was a good reminder to you, some insight on my approach and my thinking of the little things about why it matters, how I like it to submerge into my subconscious and deep down know I'm the man and I can handle myself. I can go into a very wealthy person's house and I won't touch everything and I'll treat the butler with respect and understand that they're a person too. And these things can add up one after one after one, and then they'd be like, oh yes, I like him. We're gonna have him back. And maybe we'll donate our ranch to him or something. Who knows what rich people do like that. It's definitely important. And I've been in many, 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 many wealthy people's houses. And I gotta tell you, they like me and I get called back. There's a way to treat people that are wealthy, and they're usually the classier bunch because they can afford to be. They learned. So I'm hoping that you do have this insight from this one. And until next time.